สวัสดีค่ะ and welcome back to At Brain Site here on GBN Station. You are now with me, Konkanat Wishitpan, giving you updates on Buddhist activities from around the world. Let's get started. A new charitable specialist hospital in Penang is set to open its door to the public next month. The Kekloksi Charitable Medical Center is the first Buddhist non-profit hospital in the state that is open only to Malaysians. Board member and medical superintendent Datuk Dr. Tangkok said the hospital caters mainly to the needy and will not accept medical tourists. He said the medical fees in the hospital will be the lowest in the state, and the hospital relies fully on public donations and contributions. He thanked the Penang state government for its allocation of 200,000 Malaysian ringgit to the hospital and hoped that the state will consider making an annual contribution. The hospital also aims to get an oncologist on board to treat cancer patients in the future. They accept donations from the public and organizations, and all donations above 50 Malaysian ringgit are tax exempted. Unfortunately, the hospital will not accept COVID-19 patients, but will swab test any who display symptoms of infection. Penang Chief Minister Shao Kung Yeol also visited the news hospital on April 23rd. Shao said the hospital is also one of the first private hospitals that doesn't charge nursing procedure fees for its inpatients. He also called on non-governmental organizations and corporations, the Penang Chinese Town Hall, the Penang Chinese Chamber of Commerce, and multinational companies to support this charitable hospital. The International Network of Engaged Buddhists, INEB, has published the final report of its Mindful Action, COVID-19 Emergency Relief Fund, which ran from April 2020 through March 2021. The relief fund was aimed at providing a grassroots emergency response in support for the most vulnerable groups in the countries within the INEB network, specifically in South and Southeast Asia. INEB initiated a wide range of educational projects and social outreach programs across the region. Early last year, in response to the unfolding COVID-19 pandemic, the organization launched the Mindful Action COVID-19 Emergency Relief Fund, aiming to bring urgently needed relief to vulnerable and underprivileged communities during the growing global coronavirus crisis. We launched the Mindful Action COVID-19 Emergency Relief Fund to support emergency relief efforts in Bangladesh, Cambodia, India, Myanmar, and Nepal, countries with the greatest need during this time of crisis, said INEB Executive Secretary. Coordinating closely with partner organizations on the ground in each of these countries, which have been working with local communities for many years, INEB was able to deliver basic necessities and relief aid, such as food staples, hygiene supplies, and medical aid, some of the most marginalized and vulnerable communities, those lacking any kind of safety net or social and economic support systems. Nepal is hoping to attract Buddhist pilgrims from Thailand to the birthplace of Lord Buddha with the opening of the Lumpini Airport scheduled later this year. The area is an important Buddhist site and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Nepalese officials hope to attract Buddhist Thai travelers on sacred pilgrimage trips. The Nepal Tourism Board recently met with the Royal Thai Embassy, Kathmandu, for discussions on how to grow tourism after the COVID-19 pandemic finally subsides. The meeting took place in Kathmandu, with the Chief Executive of Tourism Board reaching out to Thai officials on ways to create cooperation and increase travel between the two countries. The Thai government and Nepalese government plan to work in tandem on marketing plans aimed at people who love the mountainous scenery and Buddhist pilgrims alike. They hope to strengthen ties between Nepal and Thailand and work closely with Tourism Authority of Thailand to help bring awareness and run promotional programs directly to Thailand. The new international airport, scheduled to open soon in Lumpini, will allow much easier travel with direct flights from Thailand to Nepal. It is set to open within the next 6 months, with the hopes of international flight routes scheduled from Thailand and around Asia. Cambodia celebrated the Buddhist festival Vesak Puja Day on April 26, although without the usual social gatherings due to the COVID-19 outbreak and ongoing lockdown situation in the country. Visakha Puja Day is the birth, enlightenment, and nirvana of Buddha for Buddhist countries, including Cambodia. It is a public holiday and an occasion where Buddhist followers are reminded of Buddha and his teachings. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Hun Sen sent a message to the people on Vesak Puja Day, wishing them all happiness. Mr. Hun Sen said that Vesak Puja Day is a very important religious festival, not only for Cambodians but for all Buddhist followers around the world. He said the annual event was recognized by the United Nations as an international religious festival on December 15, 1999. He wished all of his compatriots and Buddhist followers longevity, nobility, health, strength, and intelligence, and to be safe from COVID-19. Normally, this annual religious festival is celebrated on the top of hill Pari Strop on Dong in Pho Leo District, Kendall Province, where Stupa Buddha relics is located. But since last year, due to the threat of COVID-19, the mass gathering at Udong has been cancelled. Buddhist monks in Thailand marked the occasion of Earth Day on Friday by lighting 330,000 candles. In an attempt to break the Guinness World Record for the largest flaming image, monks at Pathamakkaya Buddhist temple on the outskirts of Bangkok simultaneously lit candles across the 78-acre compound. In a special message, the illuminated candles formed the shape of a Buddhist monk meditating within the earth. Since we are a Buddhist organization, we came up with the theme Cleanse the Mind, Cleanse the World, which is to remind people to cleanse their minds before they start cleaning the world. Director of the Communication Department of Temple, Venerable Sanit Wong Wuthi Wangso, told news agency Reuters. At the event, monks chanted around a golden shrine with an objective to encourage people of any nationality, race, and religion to join together in the activities of chanting and group meditation, sharing loving kindness, AFP reported. It is estimated that around 300,000 monks and devotees attended the ceremony via Zoom application due to the coronavirus restrictions.
Hello from Australia. I would like to thank the Venerable Dr. Vapani Bhikkhu, President of the Dhammayaka Foundation, for his very kind invitation for me to contribute to the 51st anniversary of Earth Day on the 22nd of April 2021. I note that the international theme for this year is to restore our Earth, and I am convinced there is no greater challenge facing humankind today. Alongside the significant ecological threats that we witness on almost a daily basis from climate change, many of which are man-made, we also face the persistent scourge of conflict and violence. In facing and resolving these two dilemmas, there is much sense in this year's focus by the Foundation to cleanse the world and cleanse the mind through meditation. Meditation can help us achieve inner peace, which is so necessary to lay the foundations for sustainable peace and sustainable development. But meditation alone will not restore the earth, which, according to David Attenborough and many eminent scientists, has now passed the tipping point of the planet's survival. On Earth Day in particular, we should reflect on this likelihood and recommit our efforts to everything we can to restore the earth for succeeding generations. To not do so is both selfish and unconscionable. There have been many themes and successful campaigns since Earth Day commenced in 1972, prompted by that terrible Santa Barbara oil spill of 1969 that ignited the conscience of so many Americans and others around the world as well. In those days, it was civil society in the United States that took the leading role to restore our planet. Thanks to the annual Earth Day events and activities, we are now more aware of the challenges we face, such as climate change, sustainable development, clean energy, reforestation, green cities, clean water, protecting our flora and our fauna, sea level rise, mega bushfires, polar melting, decontamination and deplasticizing our oceans, controlling obesity. The list goes on. The Earth Charter that was so painstakingly crafted through consensus between 1994 and 2000 highlighted the need for global partnerships in 4 interconnected pillars of environmental protection, human rights, equitable human development, and sustainable peace. The 40th anniversary of Earth Day in 2010 was celebrated by over 1 billion people. And while gatherings were limited for the 50th anniversary last year due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the day still achieved the largest virtual mass mobilisation in history. The success of Earth Day is because ordinary people all over the world really care about the future of our planet, even if too many of our governments have been too slow to legislate the policies and programs so desperately needed to restore our Earth. Earth Day is more than eco-activism. In many ways, Earth Day provided the impetus for the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, unanimously agreed by all UN member states in 2015. Goals which, sadly, too many governments seem to have turned their backs on. On current projections, the SDGs are not likely to be achieved, nor are the minimum targets agreed by 196 states at the Paris Climate Change Conference in 2015. When I think about the importance of Earth Day, I find it helpful to consider 5 interrelated words that start with the letter P. These words are progress, planet, pollution, protection, and people. You might also find these 5 Ps helpful. Progress is important because we must be able to measure how we are tracking to restore the Earth. The current scientific data is not a cause for optimism, but there does seem to be a growing groundswell of commitment to do more. Perhaps the global pandemic has helped us to recalibrate our priorities, and perhaps a new US administration can help re-energise international efforts to lower emissions and enhance our planet's sustainability. The second P, planet, makes us realise that we are all in this together. Unlike nation-states, natural and man-made disasters, as well as pandemics, do not recognise sovereign borders. And this is why we need to give more support to the United Nations and other multilateral mechanisms to better coordinate our global efforts to restore our Earth. And we need to implement our actions both globally and at the local community level. And to do this, civil societies need to demand greater and faster action from their governments. The third P is pollution. All people, communities and nations must stop polluting our land, our seas, our rivers and our atmosphere. But this will require inspirational leadership and great humility, qualities that are not prevalent amongst the majority of world leaders today. I truly believe that people and communities around the world are wanting this and that they would willingly accept some short-term pain for our long-term gain in saving our planet. Unfortunately, given the current contested geopolitical environment, I am not optimistic that pollution can be constrained in a timely manner required to restore our Earth. But, of course, I hope that I am wrong. The fourth P is protection. If we are to save our planet, then we need to focus on protecting what matters most: our people, our environment, our flora and fauna, and we must do so by working harder to prevent injustice, to promote equitable development, to avoid wars and conflicts, to resettle refugees and displaced people, and to achieve sustainable peace. In terms of human sustainment, there is considerable merit in adopting the 8 pillars of positive peace, designed by the Institute for Economics and Peace. These 8 pillars are measurable, and they can be used and adapted at local, national, regional, and global levels. The final P is people, and this is probably the biggest challenge we face in restoring our Earth. We must learn to better respect our fellow humans. This is more than understanding our different cultures, religions, languages and norms. It is about setting and adhering to common standards of ethical behaviour, to adhering to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and to recognising and compensating the many Indigenous peoples that have been exploited. We must work harder to reverse the current trend of gross inequality if we are to provide dignity and hope to the impoverished. We must renew our fight against poverty, injustice and extreme inequality. I truly hope that in moving forward from Earth Day 2021, the world will be committed to restore our Earth in a positive and a peaceful way. But the challenges before us are substantial and leadership seems wanting. And so each of us must look to ourselves and to our families to set the examples that will be required. Thank you and best wishes.
Again, monks, a monk reviews the same body up from the soles of the feet and down from the top of the hair, bounded by skin, as full of many kinds of impurity. Thus, in his body there are head, hairs, and urine. It's time for us to say goodbye, and please make sure to check out all episodes of our At Brainsight News program on our website, gbnus.com. Thank you for joining us. Rejoice in your merit. สวัสดีค่ะ